The big debate that is splitting the fandom of JJK, Jujutsu Kaisen, is the debate between Sukuna versus Gojo. Who really wins this fight? Now, I'm going to dive into it and give you guys my opinion on this battle, and we're going to take it in three directions. There are three scenarios that I think you can look at when it comes to this fight. Now, before we get into this video, I must say, if you guys are the anime-only people who haven't read the manga, this is going to contain manga spoilers. So this probably won't be the video for you if you don't want to be spoiled. Maybe you already have been spoiled, and that's a shame if you have. But this will be a spoiler video of the manga. So you have been warned. Now, let's get into this battle between Sukuna and Gojo. Who really does win? So this battle that has happened in the manga, there are three scenarios that we're going to be talking about. Obviously, we'll start off with the first and obvious one, is the current battle that did just happen between Gojo and Sukuna. And we do know the outcome of this battle. We see, Gojo there, lying on the ground, cut in half. Now, you also got to remember, we have seen Gojo be on his deathbed before against Toji. And then obviously he came back. I personally don't think Gojo is going to come back, but there's always the possibility. You just never write things off. But in this battle, we see how Gojo is fighting a 3v1. Now, obviously, we know now that Sukuna has taken over the body of the 10 Shadow user. And with that, he is now able to summon Maharaga, who he uses to adapt to Infinity. He uses it to adapt to Gojo himself. And by doing that, gives Sukuna a massive advantage over him. Now, in this battle, Sukuna isn't going head-to-head with Gojo. He isn't trying to out-muscle Gojo. He is easily playing the tactic game. He's playing the long game. He's devising a plan to get around Infinity so that he can inflict maximum damage to Gojo to finish him off in one big blow. Now, throughout this fight, we see him take, a Hollow Purple, which is Gojo's strongest attack and arguably the strongest attack in Jujutsu Kaisen, because this can literally obliterate anyone. And we now know in the manga as well that when this battle is coming, when Gojo does use his Hollow Purple for the final time, it really does mess up Sukuna. Obviously, it really does. And we know now in the manga as well that Sukuna does state that, Hollow Purple, he's very lucky that he survived the first one. And if he takes another one, it could be fatal, even at 100%. So we now know that Sukuna does end up adapting to Infinity with Maharaga and is able to cut space itself, which now inflicts the severe ultimate move on Gojo and slices him clean in half. So Gojo is now defeated. He's done. It's over. Sukuna won this battle. Now, you also got to remember, this was a 3v1 at one point, and without Maharaga, we don't know what's going to happen, but we will talk about that. So, which brings me to the next scenario. What if Gojo came back alive? Could Gojo beat Sukuna if he was able to resurrect himself again and come back with the knowledge, knowing that Sukuna has this ultimate technique to get around Infinity? And the simple question is, would he win? As a Gojo fan myself, I would love to say, yes, Gojo with this information will come back and beat Sukuna, no problems. But realistically, I'm going to say no. I just don't see how Gojo coming back alive to do round 2 would have enough information, enough time to process what just happened without getting hit by it again. And he has to come back. Gojo has to come back with some sort of way to get around that technique, to be able to see that technique, to be able to dodge that technique constantly, and to be able to then inflict maximum damage to Sukuna in the process. Now, you got to remember as well, Sukuna's battle IQ is very, very high. This guy's been around for a very long time. He knows what he's doing. He devised this plan to beat Gojo. And now, with that plan, he now has the ultimate technique to get bypass Infinity. And in doing that, it just gives Sukuna the upper hand in this battle. Now, we also know in the manga, Gojo does state that he is a bit disappointed that he didn't give Sukuna the battle that he wanted. Sukuna didn't bring everything out inside of him. So you can either take that statement as it is and saying Gojo even states to himself that Sukuna was holding back during this fight. Or you can take it with a bit of grain of salt and going, well, you did push Sukuna. Sukuna was on the brink of death. Like, he was basically there. That last Hollow Purple was basically, that was it. If he hadn't adapted with Maharaga, there's no way he would have come back from that. And Gojo would have just beaten him right then and there. So you can take it either way. It's up to you guys how you guys want to interpret that. But ultimately, I just don't see if Gojo was to come back how he beats Sukuna. When Sukuna has that little ace up his sleeve with that technique now and the ability to get around infinity, it just makes you question, does Gojo do it? But I don't know. I mean, it's one of those ones we're going to have to wait and see if he does come back. I don't think he will, but if he does he come back with this knowledge of, okay, this is the technique. I know how to get around it. Because we do know Gojo is very talented, and he is very smart, and he is very good in battle IQ as well. Maybe Gojo does come up with a plan. Maybe he is that quick on his feet that he figures out a way to, I don't know, maybe dupe him into using that technique and then hitting him with another one. I don't know. We don't know, but I just don't think, currently as things stand right now, that he would be able to beat that. Now, the final scenario I want to look back at and talk about is a 1v1 with no 10 shadows. So we're talking Sukuna without the 10 shadows, without Maharaga, versus Gojo. Who wins that fight? That's the big question, because we know that Gojo had to fight Maharaga as well when he was fighting Sukuna. And now you got to take Sukuna without adaptation, without the ability to do that. Can he stand with Gojo? That's the big question. And look, I personally think that this one is actually more clear-cut than anything. I feel like, look, we obviously don't know because we don't see the full extent of what Sukuna is capable of because he does have Maharaga. So you sort of got to try and think of this as a way where, what would Sukuna now do in that position without Maharaga? Does he find a way to get past infinity? That's the big question. Can he come up with a plan to figure out the way to be able to attack space itself to cut Gojo, to actually do severe damage to him? Is there a possibility that he could do that during the fight? Maybe there is. We know he's very smart and he is able to come up with that. But adaptation is so OP, especially in this battle, that helps him adapt constantly. Now, in the fight with Maharaga, if Gojo was able to get rid of Maharaga very early, so he didn't have time to adapt to infinity, you could even argue that Gojo wins that fight from there. He absolutely beats Sukuna. Like, it's arguable. I wouldn't argue that, because Maharaga being able to adapt to infinity for Sukuna to be able to see that and use that and then, mold that and execute it properly is huge. But you take that away from him, can he really do it? That's the big question. Now, when it comes to this battle between just a fair fight without the 10 shadows, I think Gojo just absolutely romps him here. I think it's going to be an absolute fantastic fight because we see how good this fight really is in the manga. But I just feel like there's no way Sukuna's going to be able to tank a Hollow Purple. Not once, but not even... Like, we're talking... Can he tank it twice? Let alone once here without the 10 shadows? That's the big question. Can he do that? Can he take it? Because we know how strong Hollow Purple is. And with Gojo just focused 100% on Sukuna and not having to worry about Maharaga or anyone else during this battle, that changes things. And we see when it is a 1v1, we do see that, Gojo up against Sukuna is absolutely tearing him apart. He tears him apart in this fight. He really does. It's such a good fight. But Gojo is just a step above at this point. But then you also got to take into consideration, Gojo did state that Sukuna wasn't going all out. So Sukuna would have to go all out against Gojo at this point. So it makes for a very interesting fight and a hypothetical. But for me personally, I do believe that Sukuna may not be able to get around infinity, which would then lead to Gojo being able to beat Sukuna. Without the 10 Shadows technique, obviously. But that is just my view. So I think, look, we obviously know the first fight, Gojo lost. Like that, it's just that. Gojo lost. He's dead. He's dead. So Sukuna wins that one. Then if Gojo comes back for round 2 and he comes back alive, can he beat him? Potentially, but I don't see him beating. I still see Sukuna beating him because he has that ace up his sleeve. But when it comes to the 1v1 without the 10 shadows, I think Gojo wins that one. So let me know down in the comment section below, what are your thoughts? Where would you go with these fights? Do you think Gojo comes back round 2 with some sort of secret technique to beat Sukuna? Let me know. Do you think they win fair, one-on-one, with no 10 shadows, no Maharaga? Let me know. Smash it down there, smash that like button, click subscribe, and I'll see you guys next video. Until then, stay safe, and peace out.